I know what you're thinking. Should I watch this episode or something else? Well, being that YouTube channel XIII is the most exciting YouTube channel on the internet, and it'll blow your head clean off. You gotta ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Hey, Brian here,
Hi, this is Elgrim.
and we're back with a 13th century sword from Oakeshott. I want to apologize to everybody. We mislabeled it in another video. That was something we decided to do at the last minute while Elgrim was editing. And I showed him a page on Oakeshott typology. And it's confusing. I'm going to be honest with you. It can be very confusing because you see pictures online. You can't pick up the sword, hold them, and look at them.
And they're not even photographs. They're
correct.
It's hand-drawn illustration.
There is a depiction exactly of my armory of one that looks exactly like this to a T, but it's a drawing. The only thing is, it weighs about like 4 pounds or more.
Right, it's a two-hander.
It's a two-hander, and it is a Type 13A. Well, Elgrim saw it, assumed, well, that's my sword. Looks just like it.
It
But
did look
of
exactly
course, the
like
pommel, the quillion, or the crossguard, can all be different, interchangeable, and there's so many different types of sword made in the time period. It was just a style of sword.
Right.
They were getting heavier. They were getting longer.
Right.
They were used to bash people.
And
in
Type
chain.
13 breaks down into 2 other subtypes. It's Type 13, which is what this is, and then the 13A, which is the two-hander. Though they could be hand and a half, and then you have the Type 13B, which is almost indistinguishable from the Type 13.
Correct. So the whole thing is if you want to say it's 13B, you might. We think it's a 13 after doing more research. And I'm sorry about the pommel. That was a serious boo-boo. That was not somebody looking at a picture even tried to discern anything.
Right.
That was him asking me, what was the pommel type? And I thought he meant, what was it again while I was editing?
Right.
So Type A!
Right.
And I was talking about
he was talking about
Brazil
the
nut
Brazil
pommel
nut
on a
yes.
Viking sword that we tested. Now this is a Type H. I mean, it's obvious it's Type H. I'm sorry, I'm not well versed in
Oakeshott.
but I knew that wasn't a Type A.
No, yeah,
that was a mistake.
Type H is actually kind of easy to remember.
We do
because
make boo-boos.
Yeah, Type H is kind of easy to remember anyway because it's meant to be a hand and a half sword. This one, and that's something we never tested out before with this one because I like it one-handed. I feel more comfortable with it that way.
It's a sword that if you check it out, you have enough room to use hand and a half type techniques with it. But I mean, that wouldn't be its primary use. That'd be like if you lost your shield. It's also nice in one hand. You could ride by this mounted knight. During the Crusades, this is the type of sword they would use. Something like this.
And as demonstrated in the other videos that we've done with this sword where it was featured, it's a hell of a good thruster.
Right, and it's blade hand. That's why a lot of people would say this feels awkward, and then Oakeshott would say if it was used properly, if someone knew what they were doing with it and knew how to handle it, that it handled quite well. I mean, he says that about a lot of them. And people go, oh man, you picked that up, it's like ridiculous. But I mean, a lot of them depends on if they're hand and a half, if they're two-handed. This one apparently is designed so yes, you watched us cut with it one-handed when we compared it to the Viking sword, and we thought that was the fair way to do it. If we had started using this one hand and a half, it wouldn't have been quite
fair
comparison.
No,
we were trying to see how they compared, since they're both same weight, and they're one-handers, how they compared due to their balance.
Right.
That's what we were doing.
And you know, people have said this one looks a little slow one-handed. To be honest with you, anything filmed in a long shot looks slow anyway.
Oh, and it is a lot heavier on the blow than that Viking sword.
Oh
Viking
man, that's
quicker and nimble, but this tends to have a lot more heft to it, I guess, like inertia. It
cleaves.
Goes through. Yes.
It cleaves hard.
It's a good slice. I mean, you can put a perfect slice with it, but he's right. The power is just extreme. So let's test it out today and see what we can do with it.
We're going to test it hand and a half. So that's
it needs some testing in that area.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
Yeah, that performs really well two-handed.
I think it was much faster too on the recovery.
Well, yeah. Well, I can't wait to try it out. Dang, that is nice. I like that, man. That is beautiful.
Beautiful.
This is a great blade.
Oh yeah, it performs excellent.
I mean, that's cool. Nice.
Ah! Makes you feel good using this thing. I love it.
Yeah.
It cuts effortlessly. I love the design because there's very little drag, and it's a lot of people complain because they say they're so thin. I love the design.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about the point of balance too.
Right, but I'm saying that they complain that the European swords the cross section is so thin, it makes it so much easier to pierce and go through something. When it actually does slice, it slides through effortlessly. That's why we're getting the pieces setting on top and not just flying off across the yard.
Man, I'm telling you, love it. Great blade. I'm telling you, user input goes into these so effortlessly. It moves at the speed of thought, whether you're using it one-handed or two-handed. And even though the one-handed seems slower, it sure don't feel that way once it gets going.
Oh, well, of course not. It's just the recovery. Oh, just missed it.
It's the two-handed input on that thing. I'm telling you.
Beautiful. Cut beautifully. Try one more time. Yeah, get it.
I'm telling you, man. Every time
It's so much effort to cut through the paper, the rolled paper, that it's not as easy.
Right, but I mean, it's just that, you know, it's hard to get used to how fast it responds to you.
Oh yeah, but it has a lot of follow through, so it's kind of yeah.
Right.
So, and the way
hey, if it was a person, dude, you'd have hit him.
Oh, most certainly.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful shot. Oh, beautiful.
Man.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the spectacular, amazing cutting today. We enjoyed it ourselves. This sword cuts spectacular. I mean, I can't even describe it. It's one of the cuts on the smaller pieces here. This one's 2 inches across. If you can see it.
No.
And then this one here, this is what's impressive to me. If you see this angular cut through it, clean cut. And then this side is a cut as well. This is densely rolled. The way I roll them, I've learned to roll these extremely dense. And we usually don't have much time to soak them. So they're soaked fairly well, but they're not extremely well soaked. That's cut on both ends. So that gives you an idea what kind of cutting we did today. That is 2 3/4 inches about. So that equals a lot more tatami than that, but it's more difficult to cut. That's why I tried a little trick cut real quick there, you know, being silly, and I didn't make it. I almost did. I was surprised. That would have been beautiful. I don't know if it would have made it through when it was in the air like that because it's so difficult to cut, but it was worth a try.
Well, you know,
it's fun.
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
I'll try it again later. We just didn't have much to cut today. I mean, that's all we had. I love the jugs. They were,
oh yeah, those were explosive.
Oh, and amazing how it sliced, and we still have it setting there on top.
Well,
that was beautiful. I don't even know how you did that. That was
I mean, it's the sword. It's not me.
Oh yeah, well, it's the taper, how the width, I mean, it's the design. I mean, that's the way European swords made, to slice clean through. Beautiful sword, great edge, good thruster, good hand and a half. Yeah, and like we said, it's Type 13 or maybe Type 13B.
Maybe.
If somebody knows for sure and can analyze this, we're looking at the specs because we've listed them in the other video, and you look at them on Oakeshott.
This is definitely a 13.
And that is a Type H pommel. That was a mistake on my part when I misunderstood what he asked me about. But it's got a nice grip. It's good for hand and a half. I mean, it's not like a great sword. We have a big wide.
Right. No, and you got to definitely get used to the Type H pommel being in the palm of your hand as you crank it through.
And I have never cut with it much except one-handed in the other video, so I think if I had a little practice, I bet you I could come back and at least hit that other piece in the air as we're doing.
I think you could have done it, yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel more comfortable with it one-handed, but I'm starting to get a feel for it too, you know, with the two-handed or the hand and a half use, so.
Yeah, sorry on your peg, I had a really thin one there. That's all I had that I drove in there at the last minute because we've got a storm coming in right now.
Yeah.
I think we're having a big thunderstorm. I can hear his chariot roll earlier.
Well, it's a good thing we bought this Shelter Logic canopy because.
Yeah, thank you all for the donations. That helped us get some.
Right, like it's raining. It's been raining on us, and we've been nice and dry. Been able to continue shooting this video, and man, my camera stays safe, our swords stay dry. I mean, we stay dry. It's
certainly
kind of nice to be able to film in almost any weather.
I can see that. It's a great sword to use against armor. Gives you the extra heft you need. That means good against like chain with padding.
Oh yeah.
It's good as a cavalry sword. It's good for a little more reach, and it would even work with a shield. If you were using a shield with it, I mean, you can use it one-handed. So it's good all in all around sword. So I can see why they would use such a sword at that time period and not rely on something that's totally two-handed.
Well, I can see why the shape from the 10th and 9th century began to form.
A lot of people would say war sword or bastard sword, but that's just a term that we use from different eras.
Yeah.
At that time, that would just be a sword. That was something that they used.
But
I call it a war sword or a slightly heavier sword. They just say heavier, lighter, two-handed maybe, possibly.
I will say this: the user input does increase the recovery time and increases your speed.
The extra hand, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that helps a lot.
But either way, one-handed or two-handed, this thing's got great response to user input. Awesome, awesome. Medieval shop, 13th century Type 13, Type H pommel sword.
Works great, yeah. Oh, be sure and subscribe to our channel. Like us on our Facebook channel.
Yeah.
Well Remembrance.
That's right. That's right. Brandon Elburn's Well Remembrance.
You can help us out to help us get more stuff like the shelter and other things that we use in the videos through Patreon. That helps out a lot.
Right.
And that's just Thrand@patreon.com.
Right. Right. Or you can go through Thrand's PayPal. That's you want to email him. So use his email address. That would be thain@yahoo.com.
And the old spelling of Thane, or Thain, it's T-H-E-G-N.
Right.
That's the old Saxon spelling, the old English spelling, the old Viking spelling. They all use the same spelling.
That's right.
Later on, they came up with the more modern T-H-A-N-E.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you for watching our video today. Stay tuned for some more outstanding episodes. We got a shipment I think we're expecting to come in from Medieval Shop, so that's going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
We got some upcoming episodes.
He's supposed to be sending some Damascene style swords, some Damascus style Viking swords.
No.
And they're very expensive, so I'm curious on what kind of quality they'll be.
Dang.
They should be awesome.
Well, that ought to be cool. And of course, we got some other videos in the pipeline.
If I'm not mistaken, from Medieval Shop.
That's going to be awesome. Well, the month of May's definitely got a bunch of great videos in the pipeline, so
certainly.
Stay tuned to YouTube channel Thain Thrand, and thank you again. Farewell.
Farewell.